So we discussed even earlier that managers play a huge role, including in attrition. I mean, the relationship with the reporting manager is the biggest factor in whether a person chooses to stay or chooses to go. And unfortunately, managers today are tend to be undertrained, underprepared, and they struggle. It's not that they don't want to build a high-performing team, but they simply do not know, and they do not have the life experiences and the skills, whether it is communication skills in terms of how do you speak and what choice of words do you use, what impact will it have, the emotional intelligence that is needed. And so one of the things that I would highly recommend to all humans of HR, whether you are an HR professional or a manager, uh, there is this person called Marshall Rosenberg. And Marshall Rosenberg created a field which is called nonviolent communication. And it is a brilliant, brilliant concept. I will try and give the essence of this concept in terms of my own understanding. Of course, there are other interpretations out there and other techniques out there. Um, and I encourage you to explore those. I think a simple search on nonviolent communication would give you a lot of leads. Uh, in my understanding, what Rosenberg says is that there are fundamentally only two languages in the world. One he calls the Jackal language, and the other one he calls the Giraffe language. That needs a bit of explaining. So the Jackal has a mouth full of very sharp teeth, and it bites, and that bite is painful. So whenever you speak in a way that hurts the other person, it gives pain. And typically that comes from language that is judgmental, language that is hurtful, that is intended to embarrass or intended to cause pain or cause distress. And sometimes unintentionally, people are used to using that kind of a language. They're not using the language mindfully. That can have a lot of negative impacts. And the to give you an example, somebody, a team member comes in a little bit late, and just the fact that the manager looks at the person and looks at their watch is Jackal language, because you've judged this person. You're already scolding the person, even if you've not used any words. And so that's Jackal language. Giraffe language, on the other hand, Rosenberg says, is the language of the heart. It is very authentic. It is, and giraffe is the biggest land mammal, or the land mammal with the biggest heart. And so you what you say is very mindful and comes from your heart. It's very authentic. It doesn't mean that it has to be only nice. No, it is authentic, but you're conveying what you need to convey without having to hurt the other person. And it takes skill to be able to do that. Now, to give a further insight into how do you use that, how do you use NVC, if we understand in a sense what all human communication, according to Rosenberg, boils down to. He says there are essentially only four things that we are ever trying to say to each other. If we are really very alert, we are really very mindful, we will see what the other person is trying to say. So he says the first thing that one person says to the other is, I like you. And so the boss who is saying to the colleague who's come in late, if he's saying that another late night party, it could be, I like you. And I don't like the fact that you're coming in late because it's not good for you. It could be that, right? So I like you is the first thing that we are trying to convey to others. Now the choice, if we use Jackal language to convey that, And a lot of time it hurts the other person, it misses the point. People are not able to see that what you're really saying under all these sharp teeth, which is bitten you, is that I like you. The second thing that a person is saying to the other person is, do you like me? So when a subordinate comes to the boss and says, any look, this is my report and any inputs, any feedback, what they're actually trying to ask the boss is, look, do you like me? The third thing that Rosenberg points to that people are trying to convey to each other is, can I help you? The fourth thing is, will you help me? Now imagine a world where people are trying to say these four things to each other and they're failing to convey the intent because they're using Jackal language or because they don't have proficiency in being able to convey what really the words, the essence of all the words that they're trying to use is. And so, nonviolent communication as a way of being mindful about how you're saying, what you're saying, what effect it can have, and therefore, how do I ensure that it doesn't have unintended consequences, is what nonviolent communication is very powerful in. And well, I learned it pretty late in my professional career, but what I can clearly see is that is the immense power that it has in being able to, create psychological safety wherever you are, especially if you're a manager, especially if you're a leader, especially if you aspire to build something really brilliant.